down and have some nuggets from our husband and
Somebody's not muted.
But I could be persuaded to change it to 20. That one you don't need to wipe off usually.
I'm assuming y'all can hear me. Is that correct? Okay. For some reason, I can't hear anything. So we're gonna try to get this figured out. But Brenda and Delvin, y'all just go ahead and tell your story, and I am recording. So.
Okay. It just kind of sounded like maybe everyone was unmuted for a minute there, and that's why we weren't hearing any one person. But I am really excited and super honored that you asked us to get on this call with you tonight. And that I can tell this team has amazing leaders. I've already been really, I could say like amen to everything you shared already, Amber. And it's just exciting to see that, to see real capable leaders. And so you guys that have Amber and Janet as your leaders, be grateful and trust what they say, and you're going to go a long ways. Well, I don't know that we have all the answers when it comes to this balancing Plexus and family thing, but we will share a little bit of our story. I'm Brenda Martin. I'm a Diamond Ambassador. This is my husband, Delvin, and
I'm a Sapphire.
Let him proudly announce his rank. You know, when we found out about Plexus, it was right during a kind of time of crisis for us. I was really suffering with adrenal fatigue. Delvin says life as we knew it, or he thought life as we knew it was over. I was on the couch every day. You know, I would do school. We homeschool our children, by the way. I would pretty much get that done in the morning, get everyone fed, do school, do a few house chores, and I was done for the day. I just couldn't do much more. I'd end up on the couch. And then I would kind of get wired again at bedtime, getting everyone to bed, and finally get to bed at midnight and couldn't sleep. And then I would lay there while finally fall asleep, you know, midnight, 1 in the morning, wake up somewhere again in the early morning hours, not being able to sleep, finally feel like getting a good night's sleep when it's about time to get up. So that was just not a very good way for me to function as a mama. And so we were praying for answers for my health. I've always been kind of one of those crunchy mamas, those health-minded, trying to find my own natural ways of taking care of our bodies, keeping my family away from the doctor and all that. That's been a passion of mine. So when I found I had to do that for myself, I tried a lot of things. And I was, at the time, my friend Kristen shared Plexus with me, I was taking a boatload of supplements every day and helping a little, like not much, but enough that I continued on because it kept me from getting worse, I guess. Well, part of the reason I was finding myself with adrenal fatigue was because of our financial stress. We have always had our own home business, pretty much most of our married years, for like, I don't know, what is that, 18, 19 years now, that we've been on our own. And we were doing custom kitchen cabinets, which was good when the economy was good and we were getting a lot of orders, but we had so many times of famine that it just was catching up to us. And with having 8 sons that we wanted to kind of, help them get started in life, we found ourselves dealing with not enough income, trying to keep up with the bills, going into debt to just continue trying to keep the business going. And that's what really took its toll on me stress-wise. I think that's why I ended up with such exhaustion, just from the stress of that, along with just some other changes that we went through. My dad getting cancer and dying, and some big changes with our business affected that. So when my friend told me about Plexus, she was very wise. She told me how she thinks this could help my health, But at the same time, as I was her preferred customer, she was dropping these hints to me about what the business could be, how different Plexus is, how people that she knew of around her, which she fortunately lived in a county with several jewels, what income they were making. And I decided if other stay-at-home mamas are doing this, I can do it too. So I took this proposal to my husband to see what he thought about me trying something crazy like network marketing. I'd never done it before. And I'll let him take the story from here.
Yeah, so, well, first off, we knew the product worked because we saw dramatic improvement in her health and just a matter of a couple weeks. So, you know, we knew we were on to something. And I looked into the compensation plan and I was actually impressed. And so I told her to go for it. I said, you know, I think you can do this. So it's been a good thing.
Yeah, it has. You know, I decided, first of all, I knew hundreds of friends, literally, who were suffering in some way or another. And I had to get the word to them. I felt like this desperate urgency that I had to let people know we have a unique product with Slim. Like there was nothing else out there. And I was familiar with many natural supplements. There was not anything for regulating sugars, like in a natural way, in a safe way, in an easy way like this. And so I was like, this is gold. We found a gold mine just with the product. I felt that way. I was calling my friends before I had my results, before I knew anything about how the business worked. I had 10 customers my first month, preferred customers, just because I was like, guys, you have to try this. And of course, you know, with that and with the few products I bought for my family, my first check was $500. And so we're like, okay, this is really, you know, I think we can do this. I have to admit, I haven't admitted this very often yet, but as great as that was for a first check, I knew what could be made by the top leaders. And so that seemed so wimpy and small to me. It made me just all the more determined to work this till I got up to those figures that we needed to be able to get out of debt quickly. So I was very driven. You know, I drank, ate, slept, dreamed Plexus. That first year, you know, the first 9 months for sure, I was really, really focused because we really knew this was an answer to prayer. It just was so clear that this is what we were supposed to be doing. This is exactly what will bring us those very desperate cries, answers to those prayers that we had been praying for so many years. So I sat down with the family. We talked about this, how Mama's going to be at the computer more, maybe on the phone more, and we're all going to pitch in and make this work. And so I really felt like I've had a team all around me as I built my team, supporting me and encouraging me and cheering on. You know, I would hit gold or senior gold. The question the kids would all ask was, okay, how many ranks is that away till we get the new car? And then when I hit diamond, it's like, okay, how long till we have enough? We were in a place we can start building our new home. And, you know, we've always had these goals as a family that just kept everyone on board. Anyway, my journey was 10 months to Emerald. And then it wasn't like some people that just go boom, boom, right to Sapphire and Diamond. It was 6 months to Sapphire and 5 months to Diamond. But, you know, looking back, I'm thinking if it would have taken me 5 years to get to Diamond, I would still do it all over again. It has been so worth it. Do you have anything to add to that, dear?
Good.
Yeah, we're just pretty blessed and excited.
Well, the only correction I can think of is you said the first few months you drank, slept, and breathed Plexus. You still do, so that hasn't changed a bit.
I guess, yeah. To be honest, I still love it as much as I did from day one.
I love that. I was on another call last night and Celeste was on there and she was talking about how people will go to work and they'll work for 5, 10, 15 years and never make the 6-figure income that's available with Plexus. And all the while they're working for someone else, making someone else lots of money. Then they jump in network marketing. And so many times I see it happen where they just don't give it the little bit of time that it needs. So I love that. I love that you said if it took you 5 years, you would keep chugging along. And I'm right there with you about eating, breathing, sleeping Plexus. Our products are too good not to be that passionate about them. So some questions that we have for y'all, and these are some questions that were put on our team page by members of our team. In y'all's opinion, and either one or both of you can answer, in y'all's opinion, what do you think separates Plexus from other network marketing companies that are out there?
Well, I think there's a lot of things, actually. First of all, our products really are unique. Like I said, I was very familiar with natural supplements. I knew about a lot of the best ones. I was on health forums and, involved in a lot of that community. These rock. And we have people like health professionals and medical professionals coming on and then recognizing that and admitting they just really don't have anything in their whole gamut of supplements that even compares to this. And then our compensation plan, guys, and we have proof it's unique. 320 some jewels, that is in 2 years' time. That's unheard of. That is, you guys just have to recognize that for what it is. When you look at our ambassador income disclosure chart, it's a nice gradual uphill graph, right? If you look at a lot of other companies, they're going to have just a lot of low for your average people. And then boom, maybe a few who are really making money. We all make exactly what we work for in Plexus. But then the third thing to me that I think stands out, I haven't had a lot of experience with other network marketing companies, but this is what I hear from people who come into Plexus, that our culture is unique. We're like a family, and we have such amazing, upright people, leaders, especially who are full of integrity. And that spoke to my husband and I a lot when we saw that.
I love that.
As well as our executives.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. It's easy to get excited about Plexus, in my opinion, because our products are life-changing. And you can't say that about a lot of other things that other network marketing companies are selling. I did a network marketing company before Plexus where I was helping people's houses smell good. And honestly, I don't care if your living room smells like black raspberry vanilla. Like, that doesn't get me excited so much. But when I see people's lives being changed, that gets me really pumped. But yeah. Anyway, okay, Next question. How much time do you spend in Plexus? How much time do you spend at home or with your family? I am new. Is it different for new ambassadors versus where you're at now? And I should mention, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, Brenda is a diamond ambassador and her husband Delvin is a sapphire ambassador. And they have 11 kids. So obviously they know how to do this balance. So I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. I apologize.
Well, I think things are different for new people. But I will say it's going to all depend on what your goals are. If you're new and just happy to make this a little hobby or to just get your products paid for, that's going to be a whole different ballgame than someone who really wants to go to the top. So let's talk to you as if you're really wanting to do what Delvin and I have done. Yes, when you're new, you have to be focused. You have to have your goals, plugged into this company, plugged into testimonies, plugged into your team group, plugged into anything corporate puts out there to build your belief, to build your plan of action. You have to know what's going on. So, but you want to focus on getting this out to people, okay? So in that way, it's going to be somewhat different because, for me, I felt like that was my whole drive in the beginning, was just getting the word out. Then I started building a team, and then things shifted a little bit. I was helping my team. I was growing leaders. My focus was on, okay, who have I brought on that looks like they can really are wanting to take this and are willing to take this and are coachable. Those are the ones I would focus on helping them. But I still kept bringing in new people. I never, ever stopped talking about Plexus, finding new people to bring on, making new friends, growing my network of people. That never changes. But as far as, what was your question again there about like time or?
Yeah. How much time do you spend in Plexus? How much time do you spend at home? Maybe a better question would be is at the beginning versus now, how much time are you spending with working Plexus and, you know?
Okay. I can choose more now how much I want to, outside of some of the back office issues I've been dealing with. I can pretty much decide, just kind of choose it's like the freedom that we gain at this point. That's what we were working for. And so I can walk away from something and still know I'm going to earn my residual income just as good as, whereas I could not have done that at first. I couldn't take my eye off the ball. If it was like pushing a train, I had to get that momentum going. So I had to really stay focused, but now I can step back, take a break or whatever, and the momentum will still continue. So that's different.
It switched a lot. I mean, you have a lot more responsibilities now, more stuff. If you do take a few days off, you have a lot more catching up to do. I mean, it totally switches, once you get a little farther down the line.
But it's still, I love the freedom that we have at this point that I wouldn't have really taken at beginning.
Well, okay, and let me ask you this. This wasn't one of the questions I sent you, but it's one we get asked a lot, and I just want to hear your take on it. When do you think is the best time to sign your spouse up? And take into consideration if your spouse is going to actually work their business versus if you're kind of going to be running both of them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But regardless if he's going to work or not, I still feel the time of bringing them on is still about the same. Okay. Simply because you need a balance with both. And so I don't know. I'm pretty strong on at least senior Ruby. Senior gold. Close to Ruby. Because it's all going to depend on your momentum. If you have a super strong gold that already has 3 good workers that are rocking and rolling, that's a different story. But if you've pretty much gotten to senior gold on your own with maybe one person working, let's get a little bit stronger than that. Because your goal for, I feel, getting to jewel ship is 3 good workers under you, 3 rock stars, 3 people who are really working. So you want that under you before he starts trying to get his 3 under him. Does that make sense? So you want to keep that balance. And for us, we both recruit, but we place under each other depending where our need is for growth.
Okay, that makes sense. Next question. Do you multitask or do you have set business hours while your kids are sleeping or doing schoolwork while they're busy? I know you have a wide range in ages too, so it's a little different. How old is your oldest and how young is your youngest?
Okay, our oldest is 22 and my youngest is 3. They are all still at home because the older boys all work our other second business that we have here at home, and they've chosen to stay here because of that. So yes, that things are crazy around here. I don't even like to really give too many details because we are unique. Okay, not very many people could follow a schedule like we do, just because our lifestyle is different. But you asked if I multitask or have set times. I did have both. He's right. Both. That's a good answer. I was one that had very much a schedule in place for my family because of our situation. Everyone's at home. We're homeschooling all day long. I had a schedule in place. So I kept that schedule in the beginning, and then I worked Plexus into the slots that worked best. For me, it was in the morning when the kids were doing chores before school. And it was in the afternoon when I put them all down for quiet time or sent them outside. And then it was in the evening after they were in bed. I still hit those times as kind of my main focus times, but I'm multitasking Plexus in my nooks and crannies all day long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want you to know that when I have someone tell me that they don't have time to do Plexus, I don't respond in a message. I just get them and send them your diamond documentary, and that's all I do. Most of the time they just write back, wow, okay.
I just tell them, I just ask, how bad do you want it?
Exactly.
Time is not, that's an excuse depending how bad you want it, you won't use that.
Well, there's things in all of our lives that, just like if you say, I can't afford it, there's things there that you can pull the money from and put it toward Plexus. There's time there somewhere that you can pull from and put it toward Plexus. It may be giving up something for a while, but it's there.
That's right.
Okay, my friend Stephanie, she is a homeschool mom of four little ones. She says, what are your tips to arrange scheduling times for both school and business? So homeschooling and business. So to arrange those times, because a lot of times we have to work our Plexus business during the daytime hours while kids are also needing to do school. So what are your tips for that, if you have any?
Well, for my younger ones, and by the way, if I would have tried to work this business when I had just little ones, it would have been a slower, I wouldn't be able to focus as much, because little ones are just different. I have bigger ones that can take my little ones when I need them to. But when I am doing school with them, I try to just really focus and be present for school, with my younger ones who are still learning those basics. The older ones who could do more on their own is not the same. But when remind me of the question again.
What are your tips for arranging homeschool times versus Plexus time?
Well, I don't know. It just depends on what your schooling is like. Mine is pretty basic. So we have a lot of boys. So we early on found a curriculum that wouldn't have tons of hours and book time for them, because that drives boys nuts. And we keep the book time short, and then the more hands-on stuff is what they get more of. So if you're spending, say, 3 to 4 hours on school, you should be able to focus on that and then give them creative things to do while you work your Plexus. I think it's so much in managing your time and deciding, guys, this is the plan, and sticking with it. It's just different for every family and their dynamic and lifestyle. But I would, for school, you want to be with them and focus on that and work Plexus the rest of the time.
Did you say you have 11 kids and 8 of them are boys?
Yes.
There's only 3 girls.
Yeah.
I think it's great what you said about when you're homeschooling, you're all there. And I think that's so important to do with anytime you're with your family. Be all there, be present, put the phone down sometimes. And remember that Plexus really isn't the most important thing in the world. Let your relationship with God be more important. Let your relationship with your family be more important. And then put Plexus in there. But I love how you said that you're present, you're all there, which is a really good thing when homeschooling. They probably need that. Okay, so a question, and this may have been the entire time. It sounds like it probably was with you guys. But the question is, when did your husband start being more supportive of Plexus? It sounds like he was pretty supportive right from the start. So what would y'all's advice be for skeptical spouses and how to get them on board? If you have anything you want to share about that.
It's all yours, babe.
Well, that's probably a better question for a woman, because you have your ways of,
we have our ways.
Manipulate. I would say give them time. I mean, a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth of network marketing. She had asked me a lot of times. I mean, there were several friends wanting her to join their team for other network marketing businesses. And, I looked at the compensation plan, a little extra money would have been nice. And she was wanting something to do. And I understood that. But I looked at them and, I never saw anybody making money off of them. And it just looked like a lot of time and the parties and the inventory and delivering the stuff. And I always said no, because I said it's not worth your time. If I don't have clean underwear in my drawer. It's better be for a good purpose, you know. And so, so yeah, I think once they get past, you know, and I don't know what all the reasons might be, but it may just take a little time. I would say try to get them to an event, you know, hearing the testimonies, both, you know, the people that are their health testimonies and the business testimonies. I think that would go a long ways. So yeah, just.
And try to get them on the product if you can. Sometimes that helps them become more of a believer too.
Well, and one of the things that drew me to Plexus was that we don't have to have a bunch of parties. We don't have to keep inventory. We don't have to deliver products. And he's right. It's not worth your time. I made more my first month with Plexus than I ever made in a month's time with the other network marketing company that I had been with for 2.5, 3 years. And it's just not worth your time when you're gone all the time doing parties, and it's just annoying. But anyways, and yes, clean underwear is very important. I like that. Okay, so someone else asked, let me kind of sum up this question. What is it that you cut out to do Plexus? Like we were talking about earlier, there's always time there. You may just have to cut something out. And to get even more specific, are you able to go to every kid's ball game or every kid's recital, or you know, are there times when you have to miss a little something here to get to a bigger something over there, or something like that?
Well, we had kind of got to the point right before Plexus, maybe a couple of years before Plexus, so we started cutting out a lot of extracurricular stuff already because we live like 30, 40 miles from the average anything that we were involved with. So we kind of started pulling out of a lot of groups anyway because it was just getting to be too much for me. So we didn't have a lot of that. The things that I found I sacrificed was leisure time, you know, watching a movie, hanging out on Facebook in groups, just chatting. And one thing that was really hard for me to give up that I felt like was a big sacrifice was my neat, organized house. I had to just be okay with living in things a little bit messier, laundry getting behind, things that really bug me. I've learned to just be more okay with that as long as, you know, the family's surviving and they aren't complaining too much. And they're really good with that because they all know how to pitch in, and if dinner's late, they just make it themselves. So I'm blessed that way. But yeah, for me, it was just a lot of personal fun, you know, and it was okay because Plexus replaced it. Plexus was so much fun, like way more rewarding than all that time I was spending chatting on Facebook or hanging out and just relaxing and watching a movie or something. I mean, that's so pointless compared to what I was experiencing with Plexus.
I think the other thing, when we decided we were going to go for this, we sat down with the family and we discussed it. You know, mom's going to be really busy. We're going to have to all chip in and help for, you know, maybe a couple of years until we get this really going. So, you know, everybody understood that we were in this together and we're going to have to cut some things out. But then, you know, on the flip side, we've been able to do a lot of stuff that we've never been able to do. You know, we've been able to take a lot of our kids to Hawaii and, you know, a lot of stuff that we didn't even dream of before.
You guys have no idea what this means to us, that we've been able to experience the Plexus. I could spend the next hour just telling you how rewarding this has been. We are in literally 3-bedroom home. I mean, it's technically 2 bedrooms, but we've made it into 3. We're very crowded, and we're always bumping shoulders and trying to come up with creative ways to store things and keep things organized. So we're able to plan our home that we're going to start building this spring, hopefully. That's just one little tiny picture of how amazing this has been for us, and it's been worth every bit of sacrifice and hard work we've put into it.
Would you say that, and I know that these may be kind of neck and neck, do you feel like Plexus has given you more financial freedom or more time freedom? Or would you say it's right about the same?
It's probably both. Time freedom, I don't feel like we've totally maybe come to the point of really experiencing all of that yet, because we're still really working. We're still really focusing. We're getting him to diamond yet, you know. And it's you know, like I said, it's been a lot of extra work for the whole family. But I cannot begin to tell you the financial freedom. Guys, we had business debt that we thought was going to take us, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years to crawl out of. And we're like almost there already. I really have no words to express what that means. We're down to basically just paying our mortgage and, you know, I mean, not all that extra. I just get really fired up about this, guys, because it's huge, huge, huge.
Yeah, I want to make sure that all of y'all, especially you newbies to our team, are really hearing this and hearing the possibilities. And I think Brenda and Delvin are amazing people, but there's honestly nothing separating them from you. Each and every one of us can do this. Each and every one of you can make it to becoming a jewel. I know that you can. You have the tools at your disposal. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Those of y'all that were at convention, I think it was Troy Dooley that showed the picture of the Liberty Tower at Ground Zero. And you could see how much work had already been done underground. But then, of course, we know how huge that tower is and how much work was still to be done. That is exactly where Plexus is at. There has already been so much work done by people who've led the way, other jewels. But there is still so much to do. There's still so many people that don't know about our products, who need our products. And I believe almost just as many people need this business. People are drowning in debt. And that's why we, you know, teach a lot on our page, lead with the business, rather than lead with them becoming just a customer. And then one other thing I wanted to throw out there, we did a team call. You're going to like this, Brenda. We did a team call with Jen Hawkins in October, I think the beginning of October. And October 1st, the day the back office changed. And Jen Hawkins, some of her biggest advice was outsource your housework as quickly as you can. And man, we all jumped on that. We're like telling our husbands, we need a maid. But I think it's smart, and it's one of those things where, I mean, it's not for everybody. Not everyone's comfortable with it, and I get that. But if what you're doing isn't making you the kind of money that Plexus could be making you, try your hardest to outsource whatever it is that's taking so much of your time. Now, obviously you're not going to outsource spending time with your family. That would be weird and awkward. But chores like that, your housework and things like that, outsource those so that you can continue to focus on Plexus, work on Plexus. And I just know that everyone on our team that's on this call, you guys have dedicated the time to be on this call. I'm so happy and proud of y'all for that. And that's part of what it takes to get to the top, like they were talking about earlier. Get to meetings, get on calls, and you guys are doing that. So could not be happier. Brenda and Delvin, thank you guys so very much. We'll let you go just in case any of those 11 kiddos need you guys. I'm going to close this out in prayer, and then we'll stick around on here. Sometimes we have an after call late night party. So if anybody wants to stick around and we can talk more Plexus. Okay, let's pray. Dear Lord, I thank you so very much for this night. Lord, I thank you for this call. God, I thank you for the Martins. I thank you for, first of all, their heart for you and how much they love you, how much they love their family. Lord, I thank you so much for their insight tonight, just for giving them the wisdom to share with us on how they've done this balancing act. Lord, I just pray your richest blessings on them and on their family. We are so grateful for this new house they're going to be getting. Lord, I just could not be happier for them. We know that all of this comes from you. The Bible tells us in James that every good gift comes from you, and we know that Plexus is from you. God, we thank you so much for this night. We thank you so much for this call. In your name, amen. All righty, anybody who needs to go ahead and hop off, just hit leave meeting. Anybody who wants to stay on, we'll have a little after party. Terry knows all about the after parties. Okay. Ann Scahill, you're still on here for the after party. You said you might have to leave early.
I know it. I just can't help myself. You know how it is. You get sucked in. I'm like, you got a few more minutes. You got a few more minutes. You're good.
Mm-hmm. So let me just talk to a couple of y'all, some of y'all moms and dads out there. Was there anything that was said that really struck a chord with you? And before you talk, just down in the bottom left corner, hit the button that says unmute. Or maybe your issue isn't balancing Plexus with family. Maybe it's balancing Plexus with work or balancing Plexus with ministry, which we're going to have calls on both of those. But it's finding time to do Plexus. Was there anything that struck a chord with anybody that you just really want to mention, or any other advice you want to give on anything? And I'm just asking anybody and everybody.
There were two things for me. Well, there were several, but one of the things was when you had mentioned put your phone down. And my kid is close enough that he can hear me say this out loud. But he and my husband have said that to me numerous times, where I'll get a text message or an instant message, Plexus related, and I feel like this, like the burner under my butt kind of thing of, ooh, I need to answer that, and ooh, I need to help them, or ooh, they have a question, or this ambassador's having an issue. And I don't want to be that mom, and I don't want to be that wife that runs to everybody else before I appreciate what's right in front of me. So that was really good for me to hear. And then also the when she said she works it into the nooks and crannies of her everyday. So it's not like she works it 2 days a week, but it's an everyday thing. And like today, Jana and I were texting back and forth while I was at work. And then when I was done texting with her, it just took me a minute to kind of refocus on, okay, what was I doing? What was I working on? What were the other issues I was trying to work on? And it wasn't that difficult, but I think that I just need to change my mindset a little bit and not allow myself to get frustrated by the going back and forth, but just to appreciate the fact that I can go back and forth. So those two things were really big for me tonight.
That's awesome. And I've heard it said so many times. She was talking about specifically with homeschooling, but when you're there, when you're with your family, when you're hanging out with friends, when you're at church, be all there. There's so many times I'll get a message during church and I'm so tempted to start typing during church. I'm like, I don't know if God's going to bless that a whole lot. But I think sometimes we get this fear that if I don't write back right then, I'm going to lose a customer. When in fact, I feel like that goes back so much to just trusting God. And He knows exactly who is to be our customers, exactly who's to be on our teams. And He's got that timing all worked out. And if they can't handle you waiting, 30 minutes or an hour or two to get back with them, then honestly, you probably don't want them on your team because they're probably going to be really, really needy the whole time. That's kind of some tough love. But yeah, I loved that too. I love that she said, put it down, be in the moment. And sometimes you do. I've heard Celeste say that. You've got to put your phone down and walk away, leave it at the house and go to lunch. Anyway, Charlotte says, I remember as a kid, no one was tied to their phones, landlines. Oh, Charlotte. Charlotte, you look so skinny.
Where is she?
You look like a little skinny Winnie sitting there in your office chair.
Do I look sparkly, shiny, like maybe silver?
Yeah. Oh, you do look silver. I told you on Saturday that it was going to happen. I knew. That's so awesome.
I'm just a little bit excited.
So, did anybody else on here promote today? I don't remember who all promoted. Heather Adams, did you promote recently?
I did. I promoted to silver this month. I also just got the big incentive today.
Yes, that's what I saw on Facebook. Yes,
So
that's what I was. And how many kiddos do you have?
I have 4. We have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and 2 19-month-old twins.
Wow. I think it's important to remember what she said about how this would have looked so different for her if she only had little ones. Janice texting me about how sad she is that she missed this call. But I like that she mentioned that, because I don't want anybody who just has little ones trying to work their business the same way or falling into that comparison trap or anything like that. You have a whole different ballgame going on with 10-year-olds and 19 months old, rather than she has older kids taking care, and you're still rocking it. So it can be done. So you got the $1,000 bonus?
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not think that it was going to happen. I went to bed last night needing an ambassador and some PV, and I woke up this morning and I had a message that someone signed up last night, and when I checked my PV this morning, it was 1507. I mean, I got it by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So
Hey, if it's there, it's there. When I rolled over to Emerald, when I first rolled over, I was only at 1502 points. You needed 1500, and I freaked out over those 2 points. I was like, it's there. And I know, Terry Paxton, you're also getting this $1,000 chunk of change.
I am so excited about that. I called customer service this evening just to make sure that everything was up and up, because I wasn't seeing that 8th ambassador. And it was such a blessing talking to the gal on customer service. Turns out she's pregnant. Turns out her baby's due on my birthday. She was just this one. It was just sweet little reminders of God, how faithful He is. And of course, all the Plexus stuff worked out just fine, and she was very reassuring. But man, it was, yeah, I'm excited, and God's just good. God is so good.
That's so cool.
This call just kind of intrigued me. I mean, you know, I don't have any little ones. All my big ones are gone too. But it did remind me of when I was working full time, how as a teacher I couldn't be on my phone all the time, and I couldn't be on Facebook all the time. And so I set maybe probably at the beginning, maybe only 15 minutes in the morning before I went to work. I would check my phone and my Facebook once at lunch, and then probably about 15, 20 minutes in the evening. And I mean, so those were, now I have more like office hours, or not real firm office hours, but you know, I have that more freedom. But when I was working full time, I had 3 times that I would look at my phone or check Facebook during the day, and that was it. And it was a tiny little snippet. So I thought, you know, that for working mamas or anybody might be helpful as well.
Well, and I think it's so great to get on these calls, whether or not we're doing this balancing act series of balancing with family, balancing with ministry, balancing with work, with working full time. I think it's so good to get on these, whether or not they apply to you personally or not, because you either right now have someone on your team, or you're going to have someone on your team that they're going to apply to, and you're going to need to give them some tips along the way. So like those 3 calls, now that I think of it, none of those 3 apply to Terry personally. Terry's not full-time employed anymore. She retired last year because of Plexus. She doesn't have little babies at home, and she's not in full-time ministry. But I guarantee you Terry Paxton will be on every single one of these calls, because she knows the value. I think one thing that's so great about these calls too is that we get to see each other. For those of you who never have your video turned on, I want to encourage you every once in a while, turn your video on so other people can see your face. I promise you it helps. It builds camaraderie. It makes us feel more like a family. I literally could be, I've never met Leilani. I could be walking in Walmart, see her, and know exactly who she is because of these Zoom calls. And I would give her a big old hug like we're best friends, and she would probably be like, what's going on? But anyways, I think it's so important. Get on these calls, whether or not they apply to you personally. And when you can, have that video turned on. I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, especially when you have little ones. We were on a call one time. I don't remember, I honest to goodness don't remember who it was, but someone's naked child walked in the room and we were like, whoa, turn off the video. It was pretty funny. She was very embarrassed. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, turn the video on when you can. It's just one of those little things that I think helps. I did a team call for a whole nother team. They're not even with us. Another team asked me to talk to their team, and they do Google Hangouts, and I'd never done Google Hangouts at all. Well, the way they do it, I don't know if it's like this every time, but the way they do it, I could only see on the screen, I could see myself, and I could see the person who led the team who was like interviewing me. That was it. I couldn't see the whole rest of the team. And one thing that the leader of this team has been asking me and Jana is, how do you build such camaraderie with your team? And I honestly think these Zoom calls, those of you that have been around for a while and you know what our team was like before the Zoom calls versus now, it has changed so much for us. So very much. So anyway, and you all have such beautiful faces. So why wouldn't you want to, well, Eric, you have a handsome face. Okay. But why wouldn't you want to show them off?
Amber.
Yes.
This is Charlotte. I have to tell you that one of the things that has helped me the most is going to meetings. I mean, y'all have given some great advice. You do great trainings. Ann has done the same thing with me. But I was really not confident about my ability to work this business at all. I've said it from the get-go. I am not a salesperson, but I know we say we share. I don't care how you word it. This girl can't sell anything. Jana has always said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I thought, I'm going to be the one person who can't. But I never quit. I told Ann, I said, just because I'm not running doesn't mean I'm not, let me hang. I'm trying to keep the pack in sight. But going to meetings is what changed that for me. Hanging with everybody, hearing their confidence in the business and the products, and went to the Leslie Zan training, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I heard you say that this evening, but just those meetings and going to, I went to a team luncheon with Beth Anderson's group one day, just hanging with the Plexus people. Maybe I absorbed it by osmosis. I don't know what it was, but it has made a huge difference for me in my confidence and the, just hearing it over and over and over and over how the products are helping people builds that confidence in you. And don't give up on going to meetings. They are the absolute best.
Yeah, and don't ever let these Zoom calls take the place of actually going to meetings in person. Yeah. These Zoom calls are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
And you're going to get great training from them. But being there in person, there's something about getting to know other ambassadors, just having that one-on-one conversation with them when you can, listening to their tips and what they're doing with their teams. There's even just something great about just getting to know them as a person, not even necessarily Plexus, but just getting to know them as a person is great. For those of you that live in the Dallas area, we are having another training on December the 12th. I know December can be kind of a rough month because it's so busy for so many people, but we're having a training December the 12th at Sunday's house. It'll be from 1 to 4 in the afternoon, and we will have that on Zoom. So those of you that aren't here in Dallas, we will have it on Zoom. The biggest difference is we got to stay on a schedule with those in-person trainings a little bit more than we have more flexibility when we're on a call like this because people can hop off and stuff. So the biggest difference is we may not be able to let the people on Zoom ask a lot of questions, but you'll be able to hear all of us and see our PowerPoint and all that. So me and Jana and Sunday are doing that on December 12th from 1 to 4, and that's Central Time. Rebecca Norman, how are you doing? Oh, did you hit unmute? I think I can hear you now. Yeah, you're on.
I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
How many kiddos do y'all have?
Huh?
How many kiddos do y'all have?
Two girls.
2 girls. That'll keep you busy.
Yes.
Jana has
They both act just like me.
Yes, Charlotte, the training's at Sunday's house. We'll send out more information on that. Jana has 3 girls, and then my brother has 3 boys.
Awesome.
And it is like night and day, where the girls have just so much more drama, and they'll get into it, and they're still fighting about it 2 days later. Whereas the boys, they may punch the lights out of each other, but 5 minutes later, they're totally fine. And it's funny to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody else have anything they want to throw out, or any tips or advice or questions?
I wanted to say that one of the biggest things that helped me was finding that Buffer app. It's kind of like Hootsuite. That's how I've been able to consistently post while I work, because I work full-time for a school. And it has been really great. I just get great feedback with that. I'm able to check on my break. I check when I get home, and it just posts for me. So it's good. I
love those apps. I don't use it myself. I probably should, especially for when I'm going to be out of town and all, which seems like it's been a lot lately. But what the apps that she's talking about, there's one called Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE, and then the one you mentioned is Buffer. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go on Facebook, say Sunday night you have time, or Monday night you have time. You can go on Facebook and you can pull off some posts that you want, or you can type up your own posts that you want to post throughout the week. And you can go on there and set up Tiny Torches, what Terry uses. You can go on there and set up your post for the rest of the week, or for the rest of the month, or however you want to do it. I probably wouldn't go more than a week out, just because you want to make sure you're able to keep up with things. You don't want to get in the habit of just let this post for me on Facebook and then you never check in. Does that make sense? But yeah, it will post for you, and you can set it up to do, Monday at 7 a.m. and then Tuesday at 2 p.m. and Tuesday at 11 p.m. to set it up for all different times. And so it's going to post on Facebook or on other social media websites for you, so that like Heather was saying, if you work full time, if you homeschool, if you just know I'm busy and I don't always have time to post on Facebook, you can set that up. And I love that you can specifically make them the exact posts that you want. In the back office, I think it's still in the new back office, I'm not entirely sure, there was a thing where you could set it up to post for you from Plexus Corporate. And I got to be honest with you, I never really liked those because they're not personal. They're more of a graphic kind of thing. And we talk to you guys a lot about how you're posting on Facebook. Make sure that there's a lot of personal stuff. That's what draws people in. And if you're going to post a graphic, that's fine, but just do it every once in a while. Make sure you're posting graphics all the time. Your wall's going to look like a big Plexus ad. Whereas if you're posting more personal things, or, if I see something that Janelle posts and I really like it, I'm going to go on there and say, my friend Janelle had this to say about her journey with Plexus. And I'm going to tag her in it so that people know I actually know Janelle. And this is a real live person. But anyway, now I'm getting off talking about Facebook. Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about Facebook, I found this group called Plexus Juicing Group. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay, it's awesome. It's set up by, I can't remember her first name, Shirok. Anyway, she's a Jewel, and she and her husband have set it up. And basically what it is, I don't know what her last name is, doesn't matter. Plexus Juicing Group. And what it is, it's a closed group, but you, once you post something on a Plexus post on your Facebook page, then you can share it to that group, and you ask for people on that group, they're all Plexus ambassadors, to show you some juice back on your regular Facebook page. They go back to your Facebook page and like or comment, support, whatever. And it helps bump up your post and work the Facebook, algorithm. You know, we all know that the more likes and comments you got, the more it bumps it up and gets it back in everybody's news feed. Anyway, they have a video at the top that's pinned on that page that shows you kind of the rules. You can't just post and ask everybody to do it. What the kind of the agreement is once you post, then you'll go back and show juice to at least 10 other people's pages. Anyway, and I love it because it gets my posts some exposure, but it also, what made me think of it is I see a lot of posts from other people that I'm like, I like that. So I go, I copy, I save it, I post it to my tiny torch, and it's people's Plexus stories or post or whatever that I might not see otherwise, that I might use later on. Anyway, it's called Plexus Juicing Group, and it's great. It's real good.
Plexus
So,
Juicing Group.
Juicing Group. Show me some juice is what it's called. But they're really kind of sticklers about, you know, it's kind of selfish to post yours, ask for juice without going back and juicing or showing some comments and likes on other people's as well. I hope that makes sense.
I agree. I also, I like being able to put on team pages. People like my status or show me some love or something, but you can't do that with every single thing you post.
No.
It wears people out. But so I like the idea of having that group specifically for that. So.
And they also ask that you only post something that you want people to like or show juice once a day. If you post in that group more than once a day, she'll delete it. So I always save my best thing, whatever that would be.
What was her name? You don't remember her name?
No, hang on. Keep on chatting. I'll find it for you.
It's okay. I looked in the Jules page and I didn't see, I don't know how to spell what you said, but.
It's kind of a funny last name. I'll find it.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw out there? Robin, can I ask what you're doing? Because it looks like you're cleaning a gun and I'm intrigued. Oh, it's your phone. Okay. I was like, cool, Robin's cleaning her gun. Hey, I'm in Texas. We all got guns, so.
How do I find her name?
And just between us, you got to remember to take them out of your purse when you go to the airport. And I learned that lesson the hard way. Terry knows the story.
I would love to know more. My lips are sealed.
My lips are sealed.
But
now all of y'all are like, what?
Did you take your gun to the airport?
I did.
No.
And it was in May of 2014. Last May I did. My sister and her, okay, y'all, this cannot, I should stop the recording. Hold on.